I would like to introduce our next speaker. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce his full name. He is known to everyone as Sam Pitroda. He did his undergraduate work and master's in physics and electronics in India and then came to the US to study electrical engineering in Chicago. Sam's an inventor and an entrepreneur. In the 1960s and 70s, he was involved in developing digital switching systems in the United States, which went on to become the key to global networks to integrate voice and data. He holds more than 75 patents. As advisor to Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi in the 1980s, Sam Pitroda helped transform India's telecommunications and information technology infrastructure. Indeed, he's widely credited with bringing telephones to all the villages of India. Mr. Pitroda is the chairman and CEO of WorldTel Limited, an international telecom union initiative. He is also the chairman and founder of CSAM Inc., which has developed a suite of patented mobile transaction technologies. He was the founding chairman of the Telecom Communication in India. He also oversaw the national technology missions related to drinking water literacy, immunization, oilseeds, and dairy. In those roles, he helped transform India's developmental policies and philosophy. Sam Pitroda is a tireless champion of the basics for everyone: food, clean water, shelter, education, and technology. Sam now chairs India's National Knowledge Commission, an advisory body to the Prime Minister of India. Its objective is to transform India into a knowledge society through education at all levels, through access to knowledge. He will speak to us about the crisis in higher education. Sam.
Thanks, Nina. Dignitaries, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I bring to you greetings from the Prime Minister of India and people of India. It is indeed a special privilege to be here with you all to talk about education. This is more like a feast, meeting so many interesting experts in one place. Sometimes you don't even know where to start. I am delighted to be part of this group. I thank the organizers for giving me this unique opportunity. In the time I have, I would like to spend a little bit of time on three topics. One, crisis in higher education. Two, National Knowledge Commission that we have in India, to give you a little feel for what is that we are trying to do. And three, some of the new challenges ahead of all of us. I sincerely believe there is a crisis in higher education world over, but then there are different perceptions, regional imbalances, and many dimensions to this crisis. There is a crisis because access to higher education is limited. It is expensive, predominantly for the top of the pyramid. Take, for example, India. We have 550 million children below age of 25. And we cannot provide enough seats in colleges and universities, to some extent even in schools, for these kids. It costs a lot of money to get good education. I have two kids who went through schools in the US. Boy went to MIT and Harvard, son went to Michigan, and I know how much it cost. And it is all after tax. The quality of education, leaving aside top 5-10% of the institutions world over, predominantly in the advanced countries, is pretty poor. If I get a graduate from one of our schools in UP or Bihar, I don't know what I can do with that student. In many of the top schools also, it is 30% content and 70% connections. Content all over in higher education needs to be relooked at in light of globalization, privatization, free market economy, and new technology. There are shortages of teachers all over the world. Good teachers are hard to find. Once you find them, hard to keep them. There aren't enough students going into maths and science programs everywhere. We don't get enough of our students to go get PhDs because they can get 4 times more salaries than their parents right out of college. So we cannot really interest them into higher education. There are shortages of funding all over. Everyone is looking for endowment funds, private people to add more to their funds. Again, leaving aside top few, most of the universities are struggling for more funds. The concept of manufacturing that Ford Motor Company invented is still very valid in education. You bring in 500 kids, put them through production line, they come out, you put a stamp, and that's not workable in today's time and age. There is lack of innovations in higher education systems. There is need for private-public partnership. There isn't enough research in most of the schools. We don't have, for example, in India, good liberal arts schools. As a result, we have issues in leadership at all levels. And I believe research, which has to be the focus in higher learning of institutions or learning, is really not getting the right attention because today it is multidisciplinary, it requires collaborations, and it is happening at much higher speeds than ever before. In some countries, like India, higher education is also highly politicized. There is very little freedom and flexibility that university vice chancellors get. There is very little autonomy. Selections of vice chancellors is based on political considerations. Entry is regulated. Quality is not really a concern, and it should be exactly opposite. Entry should be easy. Quality should be controlled. So all of this, to me, says there are lots and lots of new opportunities in higher education. In India, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh decided to launch a National Knowledge Commission about 2.5 years ago to look at knowledge institutions and infrastructures that India would need in the 21st century. India is growing at the rate of 8 to 10%, and we have skill shortages everywhere. We don't have enough software engineers, contrary to what people think. Don't have enough truck drivers, welders, carpenters, plumbers, and the list goes on and on. As a result of this, we decided to set up this commission with 7 members. We meet once every 2 months for 2 full days. And we look at 5 aspects of knowledge. Access to knowledge, which include things like literacy, languages, translations, libraries, portals, networks, reservations, quotas, affirmative action programs. For example, in India, we have 54,000 libraries, and most of our libraries need a lot of work. We are building a national knowledge network to connect 5,000 nodes with 1 gigabit facility to interconnect all our universities, all our science and technology labs, medical research, agricultural research, and libraries. We have built portal on water. We are building portal on energy, environment, education, teachers training, so on and so forth. Second topic we look at has to do with all concepts in knowledge. Primary education, secondary education, distance learning, vocational education, higher education, open courseware. Then we look at creation of knowledge, as to who creates knowledge, how knowledge is created, which include innovations, entrepreneurship, science and technology, patents, copyright, trademarks. Then we look at application of knowledge in agriculture, health, small and medium scale industries, and we also look at traditional knowledge. Finally, we focus on e-governance as to use knowledge to improve governance. So sum total, we have about 30, 40 topics. On each topic, we would have a working group, 5 to 10 people, sometimes 20. Experts, like on library, we would have 20 experts. On intellectual property, we had 30 experts who would go out and spend 6 to 9 months talking to various people in the country and outside. They would come back with a white paper, which in turn would get debated, discussed at the commission. And the output of the commission would be a 3-page letter from me to the Prime Minister saying, "Dear Mr. Prime Minister, these are the 10 things we recommend your government to do in this area." All of this information is available on the net. You can go to www.knowledgecommission.gov.in, Government of India, and you will see a lot of these recommendations. In higher education, we really have 3 fundamental challenges. Expansion, we have 380 universities, we need 1,500. Excellence, we need to improve quality. And equity and access, we need to provide for poorest of the poor ability to go to the best school possible. This includes scholarships, tuition programs, loan programs, so on and so forth. We are building 50 new national universities, of 30 have already been announced by the government. There are many private initiatives now. We are also building one of our old institutions called Nalanda in Bihar, which was the oldest university. We are reviving that. As a result of the National Knowledge Commission, and also as a result of the need from the ground and the industries, we would be spending over $60 billion on education in the next 4 years to come. This is highest ever in the history of India, 5 times more than what we spent in the last 5-year plan. Traditional knowledge is also equally important. We are documenting all our herbal medicinal plants. There are 12,000 plants which are unique to Indian climate, grow only in India. So we are computerizing, keeping genetic pool intact, so on and so forth. Vocational education is very critical to us. Today we need 500,000 trained truck drivers. And schools deal with 200, 500. Just in the city of Delhi, we need 10,000 trained bus drivers. We don't have them. So our problems, to some extent, are mind-boggling. We need people for retailing, airlines, hospitality, nurses, and the list goes on and on and on. We do need international collaboration.